Viewers, welcome back to the channel. It's a girl Vermore, and I'm back with another reaction video. Today guys, I'm going to be reacting to Piers Morgan Uncensored. So this is Piers Morgan Uncensored, and I have difficult time to be a woman. Please ignore the dog barking at the background. So sorry. Difficult time to be a woman. Dalen Mulvaney, Piers Morgan, Riley Gaines, and Braden Tatum. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 panel. Difficult time to be a woman. I can't wait to get into this video, but before we get started, lots of amazing people watching us for the first time. If you are new to the channel, hello, I'm Vera. I do reaction videos. If this is something that you love, why not join Vera City? Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. And that's guys, let's get started.
It's a difficult time to be a woman. There are pay gaps, workplace discrimination, the unrealistic ideals of the beauty industry, fueled by things like Instagram, toxic masculinity, the patriarchy. That's on top of the undoubted stress of raising families, and let's be honest, often being the lone voice of common sense in dysfunctional households across the world, well, according to my wife anyway. But fortunately, amid the fray, there are still some inspirational leading women out there fighting the good fight for equality and respect. That is, of course, Dylan Mulvaney, the Google Gemini version of a strong, independent woman. Dylan became a superstar by documenting her gender transition on TikTok.
Wow.
Celebrating such core feminist ideals as cute fashion, frolicking in meadows, and falling in love with boys. This brave ode to 21st century womanhood earned Dylan a visit to the White House and an audience with President Joe Biden, not to mention a marketing campaign with Bud Light, whose client base of extremely normal men revolted with such force that it cost the company more than $1 billion. Well, Dylan's pivot to pop music is, of course, much more of the same. It's pink, it's trashy, and here's the serious point, it's packed with misogynist tropes.
These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood. These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood. Every night you rise and shine. You're
Okay.
Thick and thin, I'll be alright. Got my dolls by my side. These are the days, these are the days, these are the days of girlhood.
Wow.
Really? Many people make the mistake of thinking that all criticism of Dylan Mulvaney is transphobic. Of course they do. That's the refuge of everyone who wants to shut down legitimate debate. But Dylan's interpretation of womanhood is that all girls are lazy, depressed, promiscuous, over-medicated and addicted to shopping. She's made a very lucrative career out of saying all this stuff. Corporate America and the actual President of the United States have decided that we should celebrate it. So we have, I think, a right to maybe raise a quizzical eyebrow. I have a few supplementaries. Does anyone really believe that Dylan Mulvaney is a positive role model? For that matter, does anybody really think Dylan Mulvaney is a beautiful young woman? Is the entire act a joke at our expense? Is Dylan Mulvaney a secret agent of the Trump campaign sent to expose the utter lunacy of this cultural moment? It's not the only thing that would make sense. On a more positive note, there are some truly inspirational women fighting the real fight for women's rights and equality. Riley Gaines is one such woman. She was thrust into the spotlight as a champion swimmer who was brave enough to speak out against Leah Thomas, the formerly pretty unsuccessful male swimmer who became a woman and immediately began destroying women in women's sport. Well, Riley and 15 other female athletes are now suing the NCAA. They say it's time to fight back, and she's right. Well, joining me now to debate all that and much more is my pack, the uncensored contributor Esther Kraku, the podcaster comedian James Barr, the host of Outkick's Gains for Girls podcast and ambassador of the Independent Women's Forum, Riley Gaines, and the host of the Officer Tatum show, Brandon Tatum. Well, welcome to all four of you, a super-powered pack, all currently identifying, I believe, as their biological sex, although we can easily confirm that. Riley, great to have you on Uncensored. We'll get to the legal action you have against the NCAA in a moment. But first of all, Dylan Mulvaney, my real problem with this is you've got somebody making an absolute ton of cash by, it seems to me, mocking women and womanhood, despite until mid-20s identifying as a man because she was born a biological man.
Well, it doesn't seem to me, as a woman myself, I can tell you that's exactly what Dylan Mulvaney is doing. He's made a killing on mocking women with his stereotypical misogynistic comments. And you hit the nail on the head. This new song, right, reducing women down to picking up medication, being lazy, not being able to get out of bed, shopping and retail therapy, hooking up with men and being sex crazed. Again, as a woman, I have not lived that lifestyle. So that's what this is. It's a mockery of a woman. And let's be real. I think the most ironic part of this is he looks like a man. If you're watching that video, he looked like a man who was wearing a wig with pigtails. He's not fooling anybody.
Brandon, I mean, it's complicated. I have nothing but respect for people who transition, for transgender people. I want them to have the rights to fairness and equality.
I'm sure you wouldn't have stopped Kylie from misgendering.
Hang on, I'm going to come to that.
That's clearly not true.
I didn't misgender her.
No, but you would have stopped her from doing that on your program.
Well, okay, we'll come to you in a moment.
Okay.
Just wait.
I think I totally
there's
agree with
always
that.
issues,
He actually
misgendering
looked
and
like
so
a
on.
man wearing
What do
a
you make
wig
of,
because I was
the
totally
wider thing
speechless.
of
I was just
Dylan
like,
Mulvaney, this cultural
okay, who is
phenomenon
this?
now in America?
Who is this?
Basically
Like,
sending up what it
it is
means
just
to be a woman.
insane.
I think it's absolutely appalling to give credit and credence to a person who's mocking women. Dylan Mulvaney, I don't think is serious whatsoever. You got a gay man who has a lust for fame, fortune, and what does he do? If it's being gay is not working out for you, you become trans and you try to make a lot of money, which is what Dylan Mulvaney has done. Dylan Mulvaney is not an example of women. He's not even trying to be a woman. He walks around with a 5 o'clock shadow and dresses up in women's clothes and mocks women. He's berating women. I have never in my life seen a woman act like Dylan Mulvaney. Not one person on this panel can show me a woman that's as flamboyant and radical and twitching and twisting and acting like Dylan Mulvaney.
Are you insane? Did you watch the Barbie movie? What are you talking about? What?
You're talking
And
about
who
a
are you
movie.
to
I'm talking
talk
about
about
people in
who
real
a
life.
woman is? You're
Real
a man.
life.
This is
Well, who are
absolute
you- who are
nonsense.
you to talk about?
I'm not telling anyone who a woman is, but I'm certainly not telling someone who isn't a woman.
I've never seen a woman.
Do you think
act like
Dylan
that.
Mulvaney is
Give me an
doing women a favour with this?
Do you know what? Dylan Mulvaney is speaking to a huge generation of which none of you understand. Like, you guys are over...
That is my generation.
Dylan has
I don't know
sorry,
any
that is my
woman, I've got to say, of
generation.
any age who thinks that anything other than Dylan Mulvaney is taking the piss.
Nonsense. What, so you don't know any woman under the age of, what, 40?
I know lots of women are
And you think they all think Dylan is taking the piss? That's insane.
The ones
Do you know what
I
I
do.
will say, you've sat here on your show and you've bashed Madonna and Sam Smith
Yeah.
and all of these other icons. So Dylan just
Icons
joins...
to you, they're not to me.
Dylan just
Here's
joins
the thing.
them in the hall of
But the
fame.
central allegation, James, is that what she does, and this, I think this video clip is absolutely indicative. She's making...
It's a pop song. Have you not seen a Dua Lipa music video?
To be honest with you, I haven't got the energy to get into the misgendering debate, right? I think the whole personal pronoun thing is a lot of crap. But for the benefit of this conversation, let's move past that. I'll call her she, if that's what she wants to be called. But what she is not is a biological woman. Until her mid-20s, she identified as a gay man. And that's the point there that Brandon was making. And for someone who was a gay man to put their hand up and say, I'm now a woman, and by the way, I'm going to make tens
Well,
of
you're
millions...
misunderstanding what...
Hang on. So make tens of millions of dollars mocking women,
What, but the
which is
thing
how
is-
many women see it.
You wouldn't
I
say
think
Dua
that is
Lipa was mocking
wrong.
women, or Kylie was mocking women, or Madonna was mocking women just because
Kylie
they're
and Madonna are
expressing
women.
their femininity.
They're women.
It's not okay to say that, and you're misunderstanding how difficult it is to discover
I
your
think-
identity
I'm sorry,
as
I-
a woman.
I
I
if
don't
you
see
are
Dylan
trans.
Mulvaney struggling at all.
Dylan Mulvaney has documented
Dylan Mulvaney
her
is
struggle.
reveling in mocking womanhood.
No,
Well,
she
actually,
isn't.
the thing is, I don't think Dylan Mulvaney, I don't take offense to what Dylan Mulvaney is doing because it makes sense. In the current media landscape that we live in, it makes sense for this man, it's a man, to become as flamboyant, effectively characterized women. And I don't take offense to it because I treat Dylan Mulvaney like he...
I'm sorry, what did he just say? He said, you don't understand how difficult it is to understand. You don't understand how difficult it is to know your identity. Is this guy serious right now? How difficult it is to identify or to know your identity? I don't understand. What's so difficult about knowing who you are, knowing your identity? Are these people, are they for real? You don't understand what it is like, how difficult it is to understand your identity, to know your identity. I didn't even need anyone to tell me that I am a woman. I didn't need nobody to tell me I'm a girl. How do I even explain this? Because these are supposed to be grown men. This is supposed to be a grown man, right? A grown man speaking this way. Then I am confused at this point. Because what exactly is going on here? Let's go on.
He is, which is a mentally unwell person.
She is a she.
He is a mentally unwell person. I don't see him as a woman. He's not a woman. He's a mentally unwell person.
In a case like this, where Dylan Mulvaney's only identified as a woman for what, 2 years, and was a gay man till the mid-20s, I don't think
But do you realise that Dylan?
James, I don't think you have any right to compel women to say that this is
Do you understand
a
how
woman?
difficult it is to
Wow.
you're trans, to understand the complexity? Do you understand the
And how does this
complexity of
help
that?
them?
You have trans
How does
friends.
this help
You
them?
know
Do you have
that
any
it's
idea
difficult
how
to find your
difficult it is
identity and that
to
people
be a
accidentally
woman?
go down the
Riley has a
wrong
very good
path.
riposte.
We've discussed this before.
Hang on, Riley.
Doesn't make you right.
You mentioned you have no idea how difficult it is to identify as trans. Let me ask you, do you have any idea how difficult it is to be a woman in today's climate, and then to be entirely mocked by a man merely posing to be a
That's
woman?
how
Do
you
you have
feel,
any
and that is
difficult
not
how
true.
idea?
That is
How do you-
not
how do you-
Dylan's
how do you
intention.
know?
Well,
Dylan
it's not
is
just how I feel.
How
There's
do you
been an
know? Intention is
avalanche.
not to
There has
mock
been an
women. Of
avalanche
course
of
it's
people
not.
on TikTok, on the left and the right, coming out now saying, "Hold on, this is
Dylan
wrong."
is a
And this isn't the first time that
beautiful
Dylan Mulvaney
human
has
being.
been under fire.
Here's the thing.
His first days of girlhood. He
I'm
came
not
out
gonna have a
after day
conversation with you. Keep
365 or whatever
misgendering
day
her.
it was.
You can't compare.
Can you imagine? Do you know how difficult it is to identify as a trans, blah, blah, blah? Who told you to be a trans? Who made you a trans? You made yourself a trans. So why is that difficult? Do you know how difficult it is to be a woman too? It's difficult to be a woman. You don't know what women are facing. You guys are hilarious.
Tell people to do that.
Yes,
you
I
can't.
can,
No,
because
you
it's-
can't. You can call
It's
Dylan Mulvaney.
discrimination.
You can call Dylan
It's
Mulvaney
discrimination,
whatever
Piers.
you want.
It's discrimination.
But Riley Gaines, of all
And listen,
people,
Riley, I do sympathise with you,
You know
about
what?
how
No,
difficult
let
it is
me
to
tell
be
Riley
a
you
woman.
Gaines has
something.
had to
You know
compete
what?
against
Riley, I
biological
want to listen
males.
to how difficult it is to be a woman because I want to understand that. I know that's tough. As a gay man, I'm also a victim of the patriarchy. We all bloody are. Like, it's
Look, we don't need to
bloody
do the
awful.
identity
I've seen the
politics.
Barbie movie.
You are
Let me tell you
part of the
something. You
patriarchy. What are you
mentioned-
talking
I've
about?
read the book. I understand, but
You mentioned discrimination.
you being a
You
woman.
mentioned discrimination.
Let Riley
Let me
speak.
tell you
Stop
something.
talking over the
Do you
woman.
believe
my
that it's
point. No one's
okay?
allowing me to finish a point.
What's your point?
Am I
Go
allowed
ahead.
to speak?
Sure.
God, okay, fine, I finished.
What's your point? You haven't got one, have
My
you?
point, no, I
Riley.
have. My point is, Riley, that
Let me
it's-
say something.
I understand how hard it is to
Okay,
be a
go
woman
ahead.
and that you fought so hard to be a woman, and I have so much empathy with that, so I can understand why it is so upsetting when, in your view, someone who isn't a woman comes along and says they are, because it undermines all of the history of what women have been through.
Yes.
But that's not a trans
Well-
woman's fault. That is men's fault. Men are the problem, not Dylan,
Let him
not
talk.
trans women.
men are the problem.
Except
No,
trans
lying
women are
about
men.
objective
Men are the- of course,
truth
I
is
knew it
the
would come back
problem.
to us.
That is what the problem is.
Riley?
Are you saying it's not? Are you
Let me
saying
tell
you're
you
not
something.
a victim
You-
of men? Because what are we talking
No,
about?
what
She's
I'm
a
saying
victim
here
of
is what we are
biological
suffering
men
from as a
saying
nation.
they're women.
Really, globally,
And
what
women
we're suffering
are
from.
forever have been a victim of men.
Wow.
That is truth.
No, she's
right?
a victim. She's a victim of gay
Here,
men.
here, let me take
That's
you
what
back.
this-
Let me
that's what
tell
this
you
is
what
about.
I'm a
gay
victim
Wow.
Listen, do you know what? Let's just pick on all the minorities.
Let me-
Let's
Dylan
throw Megan in as
Mulvaney
well.
is a
Let's
gay
keep-
man that's doing this.
You think
So
Megan's
is
a
Lil
minority?
Thomas and all
I am
these other
so
people.
done with this conversation.
Let
Yeah.
me tell you. Let
Isn't
me
it
tell
interesting
you
how,
what I'm a
James wants
victim
to
of.
control everyone's thought?
No, I don't. I
You
just
wanna
want everyone to
control-
have a
hang on,
nice, civilized
hang on. You want to
conversation.
control
Piers.
everyone's
Wow.
speech,
Why
and
is
how
no
they
one-
speak and how they refer to people. They're not allowed to have their opinions.
Yes,
Only
they are.
You want to mansplain
not-
to women what they should be thinking, and at the same time you want to blame the
I'm
patriarchy.
not. I want everyone to be kind to everyone.
Oh, no, you don't.
That's what. Yes, I do.
Hold on, stop right
Yes,
there.
I do.
Don't be like
It is
me,
not
the
kind.
patriarchy. Want to
It
be
is-
kind to me?
It is not kind to ask a young girl to undress in front of a man. That is not kindness. What kindness
Right.
is. And if that's what you believe your definition of kindness is, you have a totally warped perception. And let me tell you, it's not inclusive to ask a girl like myself what happened to me and my teammates. It's not inclusive to ask us to smile and step aside and allow these men onto our podiums. That is not what inclusion is. That is exclusion. And it's exclusive to the very female athletes or women in general who Title IX in the women's sporting category was passed to protect and to honor and to celebrate and to uphold.
And
so I
Riley,
think we have
Riley,
very
for those
different
who
definitions of what kindness really is.
Right, so Riley, I totally agree with you. And Riley, for those who don't know what's going on with the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association in America, you're one of many athletes, female athletes, suing them for their transgender participation policy. Why?
Yeah, so basically the NCAA, their most basic duties are to protect athletes, both male and female, to protect their opportunities, to protect their safety, to protect their privacy in areas of undressing. And bottom line is the NCAA is failing on every account of that by allowing men into our fields, onto our courts, in the pool with us, in our locker rooms. So that's what this lawsuit is about. That's what we're hoping to change here. So again, myself plus 15 other athletes who have been adversely impacted at the hands of the NCAA are now taking legal action and saying what they are doing explicitly and actively and directly is discriminating against us on the basis of our sex. And so to your point, if we want to talk about discrimination, that's exactly what my teammates and myself and my competitors and girls around the country, again, at the hands of the NCAA, continue to have happen to
Well, you're
them.
also discriminating. But what about lesbians? Are they allowed in your changing rooms?
They're biological women.
No, but you're talking about women.
They're
who-
women.
Yeah, they're women.
But you're worried about women seeing
Look,
your body?
I mentioned
Like,
nothing
what's
about.
going on?
I mentioned nothing about. No. What I have a problem with is I don't want to see a naked man's genitalia. I'm married. I have a husband. You think my husband wants me seeing another naked man while he also gets to simultaneously, non-consensually at that, get to see me naked? No way. That goes against my values as a Christian. That goes against my values as a married woman. No way. That's what I have a problem with. It has nothing to do with his sexual orientation. I don't know if Thomas likes men or women or what, but
Right. I want to
either
play
way.
a clip, Riley. This is you on Joe Rogan 12 days ago, which you talked about another aspect of the Leah Thomas story. Esther, do you feel educated?
I feel the opposite. I actually feel myself losing brain cells. I actually thought my brain was going to leak through my nose.
Of course.
I saying Leah Thomas or Liam Thomas or whatever the name is. Dating history. Look, I don't think the reason why I don't get as worked up or upset about this is because I recognize society's flaw. They have given mentally unwell people the status of being right. They've given the status of validating their delusions, and in other ways compelling us to validate those delusions. I'm not offended by Dylan Mulvaney. It doesn't offend me because this is a mentally unwell person. Why should I be offended that this person is trolling? I actually think a lot of conservative stations make the mistake of giving people like Dylan Mulvaney the publicity that he craves. Because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm looking at a mentally well person. That's a lie.
Mentally unwell.
You're gatekeeping womanhood, which is the most manly
difficult.
thing you could
Here's the
possibly
thing.
do. So I'm going to say, do you want me to start misgendering?
You were educated at the
GQ man
expense
of the year goes to Esther.
You were educated at the expense
What a
of
man.
Man, Esther said he's an unwell person. Oh my god, that was hilarious. He's an unwell person. They said he's not a trans, but he took the face of a woman, like he's impersonating the women. Honestly, if you want to do your trans, don't bring it into the sports, because even if you identify as a woman, you still have the physique of a man. You still have the strength of a man. You still have the body of a man. You still have the muscle of a man. Look at me. Where are the muscles? I don't have no muscles. But if you see a man or a boy my age, he would have all the mustache. He would have all the muscles, the chest. So why would someone like that, why would I be playing against a man? Only his chest can eat me off. Few weeks ago, I reacted to a video that where a transgender was playing volleyball with some girls, and he injured them. He injured 3 girls in that game, and they said even before that game he had been injuring some girls. So why did they allow him to keep playing? He's a man. Let him play against his fellow men or play against his fellow transgender people. They should probably create a different sport for trans. Male and female will have their own sports. Why the trans people, they will have their own, because it's not fair. It's not fair. I, as a girl, I'll be in the same changing room with a guy. Do you need to go naked in front of a guy? If we're all girls, yeah, I can go naked. We're all girls, we're all females. But I won't go naked in front of a man that is not my husband. That is nothing to me, just a co-player. Then I'll go naked in front of you because you are telling the world you identify as a man. You still have the hormones of a man. You have the chromosome of a man. So, it doesn't make no sense to me. They shouldn't be allowed in sports. Trans people should be banned from sports. Let trans have their own sports that they do. Then we'll come back to Dylan. Guys, I don't know why I cannot even pronounce his name. Dylan Mulvaney. So they said he's not a man. He's not a trans, but he's impersonating women. I actually have nothing against the trans people. Honestly, I have nothing against them. It's your life. Whatever you want to do, you're free to do it. Okay, just don't force us. Don't force us to accept you. Don't shove it down our throats. If I see you as a man, I call you a man. Don't force me to call you a woman. So it is left to you. Guys, what do you think about this video? Drop a comment down below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a huge thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, join Veracity. Hit the subscribe button below, turn on the post notification bell so that you can always be the first person to know whenever a new video drops. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. I love you. Bye guys.